We're back at Heroes Global Championship for North America. Superstars and Tempo Storm now tied up after Superstars were able to get the victory on Towers of Doom. Pretty cool drafting from them so far. Yeah, it is. The research working out. And do they carry over the upset dream that we experienced yesterday here through today? They're showing signs of it. They are. Every series went to game number 5 when the upsets did end up happening here. And, you know, realistically, I thought this was not even close. I thought that Tempo would very swiftly 3-0 this series. So the fact that we saw the shakeup yesterday out of major names in North America, and this was Superstars, I'm starting to feel like there's more of a chance. Shakeups everywhere. It's just like, we don't know who's going to be at the top by the end of this, or in the bottom. Everything I knew about North American Heroes is quickly kind of putting it on its head. Yeah, it's been very fun this weekend getting to see everyone show their hard work. We know the next battleground will be Dragonshire. We'll check out and see who picked it. Likely it is a Superstars pick. Yep. Since Tempo Storm likes to get the first pick, although both teams like this battleground. I think this is where we had Probius too, right? We did, as the entire draft was commenting and complaining about the lack of priority on a solo and how unrealistic it was for them to draft it, and they were like, but what if we Probius? It did not work out. No, and a different build than we have ever seen from any Probius. Yeah. Although I guess I didn't see the Chinese Probius build. I didn't either. I didn't look at the build on the Chinese Probius. So I don't know if China has, but it was a more caster-oriented, the biggest difference out of FaZe was Nullgate. Yeah. Which was, not too many moments were paid out. No, we did see where they were trying to make it work, though. It was Nullgate so that nobody could get into the void defensively so that they could guarantee getting a kill. But only one time did that guarantee them a kill, and a lot of the game they were behind. And all of it, because they did end up losing it. Yeah, turns out, yeah. You are behind if you lose the game. Zarya's removed. Superstars, do they conform to the Tassadar? I'm gonna say, yeah, it's a map where wave clear is important, skirmishing is good, Tassadar reigns supreme. There it is. So what is the first pick for Tempo? Is it Mouth? Is it Arthas? Or is it Falstad? Mouth. Yeah, it's gonna be the Mouth. I still like that. Makes a lot of sense. So where does Superstars go though? Do they flex it out in their draft? Do they make adjustments here for Dragonshire? Won't get what they got versus Gale Force, which was Mouth Zeratul. That ultimately ended in their Probius. If they go Zeratul again. They just false said Dahaka the last time. Against Freedom? They just false said Dahaka. That was versus Gale Force. They could false said Dahaka and just control the global game. They ended up winning there too, which might lead them to go more that direction than the risque Probius up on top. Yeah, because with the Zeratul draft, it did leave them hurting to try to figure out. I mean, that's Zeratul. Anytime Zeratul on Dragon, dude, it breaks the whole draft. It really does. You have to redesign a draft around Zeratul if you're going to pick him up here. Everyone and anyone has to be on point, and very high up, Lucio. For Superstars, fear of maybe a double support? I don't know. Either way. There's the support focus has been climbing this series in general. Yeah, that's true. There he is. He returns to the Shire of Dragons. And that's got to be Arthas backing him up. It's such a good combo. Yeah, and it's just been Tempo Storm has been one of the few teams that prioritize Arthas as high. And, you know, Zeratul buying the time. Or do they have to get Greymane if they really want Greymane? I mean, this would be the spot, right? Yeah. If that is the trade-off that they're going to have to answer. But I really lean towards the Arthas here. Same. I feel like without any warriors picked up, they're going to lose, you know, heroes in the next row. It just makes the most sense. What do they got? Give me the Arthas, please. Or a Murden. Thank you. Okay. There we go. Things are still making sense. Figuring it out. What do we do for Superstars? What do you want to see? How is the solo going to work for Tempo now? Do they keep Zeratul the whole time? Oh yeah, they're gonna ban Kael'thas, of course. Even though Psalm will be the player onto the Zeratul.
Just not want to do
yeah.
it.
Maybe someone else plays it Dread.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past them. At this point, you know, a lot of the members of Tempo Storm are just so flexible that it's a lot of heroes are viable for them to pick up. We're seeing a hover ban and an executed ban onto the variant.
Is this a test on Stray? He doesn't have great wave clear, but he is good at being able to, you know, help make sure that they get those kills in between rotations. Does this force Stray to pick his old staple of Johanna? Do we see him favor a Nubarak? Muradin still up?
I would really like an Anub, honestly, out of him. I think that would be a go-to. It just depends on what damage source they actually want to pick up in this rotation as well. Because if you just pick up the Anub and you're lacking too much in the wave clear, then it will hurt less and you can move into the JoJo would be the safer choice.
Superstars loves Gul'dan on Dragonshire.
Oh, there's the Johanna, there's the Gul'dan. No top lane still. Tempo Storm gets to set the tone for that. They have already got the Arthas who can reside up in the northern lane, but if anybody else wants to move up there, could be a lot more dominant and more successful. With the Zeratul, it's not necessarily a map, but it is. I feel like with the comp, I can see an argument for Ragnaros, but again, it probably very unlikely. Who else up on top? Obviously, we still got Dahaka. It's going to be a new Vala, so Arthas is going to be the placeholder. And no Nubarak available for Superstars now.
Dahaka's still up.
Dahaka is up. Makes the most sense for the solo.
For Goku too.
Are we missing anything major? I feel like a Leoric wouldn't be terrible. I don't like it too much with Johanna, but I do with Gul'dan and sustained DPS.
Hello, June.
He was just casually dropping by, checking out the draft, seeing what's up.
I think he's happy with Tempo's draft.
Yeah.
He gets his Malfurion.
Yeah, you'd be looking at that one and just be like, this is pretty good. We have really good chances of winning this game, guys. Good job. They aren't necessarily the best in the wave clear, but they are so good on kill potential and dominance in their laning that they are going to be just fine. 8 seconds before we figure out Superstars top lane. And it's going to be Dahaka, right? And it's just going to be, no. Who
Falstad?
are they going to top with?
Falstad Medivh, 2-1-2. I don't know. I don't know how this laning phase works.
I just love seeing the evolution of the thought process. You're like, Falstad, and then you take a minute and you're like, oh, yeah, I just give up on this one. Yeah, I don't know.
Sometimes you could see a roller coaster of emotions in me as I'm like,
I do the same thing, but mine is just usually way more stern. I go like, and I'll be like, and it just gets lower and like more like, oh,
angrier
this is weird.
It's tiltier and tiltier.
Yeah, every step where I get posed with another question that only furthers like how kind of wild things have gotten here with the Dragonshire draft of Superstars. It's just only more like, you know, I just can't. I don't know.
Well, let's figure it out because the game is ready. I'm ready to see how this laning setup goes for both teams, but especially our Superstars. We'll see you there.
Superstars has like the best name in all of HGC based on the fact that you're always complimenting them just by addressing them. You know, they are your Superstars.
That is true.
Like, they were thinking with their dipstick, you know?
I do still kind of wish that their name, instead of SSS, was SUP.
Yeah, I agree with you there. The acronym.
SUP Kona.
Yeah, SUP Kona. That would be pretty dope. SUP Goku.
SUP Hosty.
Or just 2, so we could be Super Saiyan Goku. Just SS, Super Saiyan Goku. Don't casually.
That would be awesome. I didn't even think of that one. I'm down. Is it too late to make them change it?
You know, I'm no expert in this, but I'm gonna say probably.
Yeah, probably so.
But we can start a petition.
You know who else could start a petition? Hashtag HGC. No, just kidding. I think they really like their SSS, so we'll let them do what makes them feel comfortable. All right, here it starts. Falstad's head to the top.
He is going to be our top laner here on Dragonshire.
You know, if you have a portal, you can make the rotation even faster. And they do have Faye to clear out these waves. And Johanna.
Tempo Storm is falling behind into the 4-man, but that was expected, especially with the draft of Tempo. Falstad is going to be... Okay, so if Tempo Storm can at any moment just pause this, what is insane rotation coming up from Superstars here with the Medivh, Johanna, Gul'dan, I mean, Falstad should just be dead all game, right? That's the goal for the Zeratul and such a weak top laner. That really should be the main emphasis, but they aren't in a position that Psalm can actually rotate without losing experience in mid. It looks like now is going to be the first time they try and venture outward.
They have control of the Shrines, but these waves are continuing to drain ammo. It's only the top lane that Tempo Storm has it. Oh, barrel roll out of Howling Blast in the nick of time.
OC's got this on bottom, and that is going to stop the pressure of the Dragonite, but yeah, that is exactly what Psalm has to be doing. In the long run, too, Tempo, Arthas up there on top will be able to hold his own. He'll actually start winning as time moves on. About post 4, it should be, with the CDR. Be able to make things a little bit harder for Falstad, but then he will have the self-sustain. So it's just about focusing on the poke.
Drew, do you remember what level 1 we had from Iacona last time we played Lucio? Was it we moved together again?
Oh, he's fluctuated back and forth, yeah. It hasn't been like a must pick in either direction, I don't think.
Okay.
He's kind of fluctuated around. So going with that over Accelerando on this map, though, I mean, only complements rotations. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think I remember us having this conversation, trying to just speed up whole team versus having his own movement speed advantage.
Yeah, and what that can mean to the later parts of the game and how many single target. Like, it does cripple the ability to avoid Zeratul without that Accelerando, but also they have a Medivh, and beyond anything else, Dragon Chariot doesn't have very many walls where you fight around compared to other maps. So I think I like the choice coming out from Iacona, but yeah, he is less consistent. June, thought for a moment Iacona might go for the boop play. Superstars have both the shrines.
Oh, Faye was trying to sneak it and will pay for that with her life. First blood claimed by Tempo Storm as both teams look to get their level 7 talents.
That was such patience there. Nobody on Tempo Storm showing until they all could collapse at once to make sure they get that pick. Ooh, this just, you know, getting rid of the minions here up on mid and bottom. It's just going to be... Superstars has the wave clear. Tempo Storm has the skirmishing. Tempo Storm really can't do much for the laning part of the map. It's more of stopping the pressure that Superstars is going to be applying, you know, outside of the 1v1 on top. That's the only lane where Tempo Storm, you could argue, has the upper hand.
Yeah, that does help them make sure that they aren't put under too much pressure. If Superstars holding on to both of the shrines, that happened once, but ended up netting Tempo Storm a kill thanks to their good rotations. Tempo Storm are also going to get their Giants, and this will help push back this bottom lane, which has started to take some damage from Superstars' control of this mid-bottom rotation.
Yeah, and the Giants on Dragonshire are kind of like a power play that they present for Tempo. It's kind of like adding a third member to that bottom lane, which then allows you for more lenient rotations either top or off bottom. I would expect the Zeratul to be the one making the transition toward top, but it looks like they're going to put more emphasis on just the defensive. Typically, when you have the more offensive and less macro-focused comp, that's where you put your focus on top, but if you have more wave clear, then you actually focus it on mid and bottom once more, which is why Superstars got a pretty free clear, and Tempo just kind of casually hung out some more. Tempo here not nearly as forcing the issue as, you know, we saw in game number 1.
Do you think they're waiting for a particular spike, perhaps?
I mean, their composition does become a lot better with 10 just because of Void, but it doesn't change the fact that they have some of the best 1 through 9 heroes in the game versus some of the least impactful on the side of Superstars. Gul'dan, Johanna, Lucio, and Medivh are all kind of meh. Medivh, now that he's 7, gets a little bit better, but I really would have liked to see Tempo be more focused on skirmishing here. And after it's all said and done,
they get the Dragonite.
Somehow Tempo Storm manages to pick up the Dragonite through just proper rotations over Superstars.
Hosie's gonna have fun trying to deal damage to Psalm while simultaneously building up Master's touch stacks. It's at 16 right now, so over halfway done. Once again, Arthas, when Caterpillar playing him in the solo lane, is showing off his solo lane Death Coil build. Not with Rhyme this time, but still focusing on getting Death Coil's cooldown reduced, as well as increasing the healing of it at 7.
Tempo Storm is going to be able to get 10 after this front wall. Do we, in fact, see the Syndragosa? And because it is, in theory, the Syndragosa build.
Exactly.
If there is a Syndragosa build.
I was wondering.
We're yet to see if it's Cocoon or if it's Syndra. Both of those are still being held back for Tempo. I can see the Cocoon. I don't know if I can see the Syndra.
Cocoon was picked. Rite of Vengeance 2 for Vala over Strafe. Perhaps trying to lock people down around the portals.
Not only will it, lock around the portals, but it also helps with the Void. The same argument, the Null Gate strategy, right?
There it is.
You end up getting, they go with the Syndra still. Man, I am very afraid for the health bars of the members of Tempo Storm now that both of their warriors have no self-sustain. Zeratil's obviously going to be a nice, moment for them. But I feel like past that Void, there is a lot of risky things with this draft, especially into a Medivh, who can kind of counter that original initiation that Tempo Storm's looking for.
He took Polybomb.
Wow. All right. So that is going to allow them to be able to get a kill onto a single target a bit better, like Arthas, and help with the Zeratil skirmishing if he looks to dive the back line. But there will be no counter momentum like the Leyline Seal needed into a Syndra Cocoon and Void Prison.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they could throw that down on whomever is going into position to capitalize after the Void Prison, but again, in that respect, you could Leyline them too.
I think a lot of it comes down to killing Arthas and dealing with Zeratil is what the Polybomb does. Because just Zeratil, once he looks to get those initiations, if he overextends onto the fall side, it just, one Polybomb is typically enough to be able to get that kill. It's kind of like a Varian to some extent there.
There's a lot of counter initiation for Superstars now that they have their heroic abilities too, depending on how that wombo of Void Prison starts with Horrify and Gust. Iacona doing Iacona things, waiting on his heroic ability, but I don't see a world where we don't have Sound Barrier.
I agree with you there. As a solo support, there is about zero reason to not go into it, but again, it's Iacona. He likes that. He just likes to rustle the jimmies, not pick the talent for about as long as possible. Do you know what the longest record for Iacona on holding a talent is?
He held Kharazim trait until, I think, Heroics, at least 7.
I do remember a minimum post 7. I don't know if it was all. I feel like it was 9.
But it was your trait. It wasn't even like a talent. You don't have a trait until you pick Fly, Gust, Psalm, destroyed.
That was a... You could not... You said about 4 words and you just nailed it,
Oh, we're clapping for me. I was clapping for the Fly.
You're like, here's a Fly. All right, and deleted. All right, so that was that. I just, so succinct, accurate. My goodness. Popping off here today.
Thank you.
Caterpillar in the 1v1 with Goku, but the members here, Iacona will lose this. These two, it forces an ult from somebody except
Johanna
for Saray.
is here now too. Cattle's getting low. Cocoon grabs Johanna immediately. Remember, there's no Army of the Dead for Cattle. Fury, does he have Burrow to get out of here?
He
yes.
does.
Over the wall.
But they have Blessed
under the wall.
14. He's going to be fine. He makes it out here. Both the shrines captured by Superstars. And they look to move up here. Faye remembers what happened last time she started that channel. Was not good.
Iacona's channeling it, but that is the support. Not necessarily the best option, but of course, whatever you can do to get the Dragon Knight, sometimes you have to make those risky decisions, those risky plays. Once again, these are being held. Goku chases out Psalm from claiming the bottom shrine.
Fury gets him one more delay here. Arthas is not going to look to capture on top, so they need one more. There it is, and now this is a Dragon Knightless Superstars.
There's a Zeratul Falstad hanging out in bottom lane. And that's all.
Just hanging.
Psalm goes back. Tempo Storm staves off a Superstars Dragon Knight and doesn't lose anybody. So big win.
Nobody has gone towards top at all for a long while on the side of Superstars. Arthas has kind of just been doing his thing. He's just like, oh, here's some front wall damage here, and thanks for the free wave. It's allowed Tempo to, you know, catch up a little bit of the experience that they were down behind about the quarter level. But it's all about really Cattle and just Psalm there on the Zeratul. The rotations they've been able to make here, minimizing the advantage gained by having the fall set on the side of Superstars and the dominant 1-4. It is pretty crazy that Superstars is yet to pick up a Dragonite.
Storm again has made the faster rotations. They even had someone on the point ready to cap, but Goku made it to the top in time. Hosty spots out that Tempo has started their Giants, which is a few people off the battleground for a few seconds. They'll do what they can with that time, with that information, and try to siege down one tower.
It's going to allow them to pick up the Giants for a power play once more on bottom. Tempo Storm should try and look to control the shrines, knowing they can manipulate the rotations of Superstars. Arthur's still kind of doing his thing. The rest of the members of Tempo transitioning towards bottom.
Looked like maybe he was heading up, but he's going to stay in mid. Relegated to guard duty yet again.
It's always not fun to be the guy who has to delay. Goaltending is about the most needed, but also not fun things to do in competitive heroes. Especially on Tomb when you need 2 of them. Then typically the support's one of them, and you're just like, man, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be the one who has to 1 versus 4 and buy time. But somebody's got to. Because if not, that is going to be a free objective. So respects out to all you lone goaltenders.
All you guards. Security guards doing your job. Especially Fury.
Stray and the rest of the members of Superstars see that, you know, the camps on bottom are suddenly becoming a problem. So they commit a bit of the resources to transition down.
No Rejuvenescencia, but only 1 warrior, so bring it together. What do you think?
All right, so when this hero released, Lucio, I had a conversation. I often, anytime supports are talked about, Dunk Train and Bakery are my go-tos. And we had a conversation about Rejuvenescencia versus what is this talent we have going here. Bring it together. So mathematically in... Dragonite's going to be picked up. Mathematically, it is, depending on everybody's health pool, like obviously at the top of my head, I can't beat boop the math here. But in general, when you only have 1 warrior, in theory, it should be slightly better than without. But it also comes down to the independent variables of everybody else's health pools. Falstad's, Lucio's.
It also was slightly buffed.
That's a good point, too.
From 40 to 45%.
So then it should be right now, and on this patch with that buff coming into play, and this many, like, I mean, think about everybody's health pools. They are legitimate, absurdly squishy heroes. So it should be better.
So if you carry the 3, and then you have 0.33 repeating, of course.
Yep, you end up with...
Red has decided.
A dead Goku up on top. Psalm is going to just put the Nail Areno in the Coffin.
Coffin Areno?
I wonder if Psalm just asked, like, you know, after the B steps that we saw Goku dishing out the last game, just be like, any last words right here? Because, you know, before just send you back home?
Maybe.
Fury's getting a flank. There's a Cocoon.
FaZe stuck in a Dragonite. Throws down some fire at least, but that's not going to be too helpful. Lucio's there.
Psalm gets the body block on the Faye.
Ring in the Rain of Vengeance too, just to make sure that she can't step through that portal that mysteriously appeared from Hosty, but that was just a lot of damage, a lot of control, and a lot of kills for Tempo Storm as the Dragonite went down. Still no forts taken out, even with that Dragonite for Superstars.
Ooh, Hosty there. Been playing with fire when it comes to, I guess, more ice with the Arthas on the other side there, but he's just been, he's been around, but I've yet to really see, you know, a moment where we see, like, there's the Medivh play, but it's also, I feel like, a bit of the lack of late line seal. You know, that is so much of a majority of the setup of what you know to see out of a Medivh playing that it really does feel like it's kind of pulled away from it. That and Tempo Storm is just, that was the most ragdoll-y giant I've ever seen in my life. Holy cow. You know, so it just feels weird. You know, it hasn't seemed to be making too much plays in these team fights. I haven't even really felt like I've seen a major portal or shield. Gilly just died. That, in fact, was the audio cue of her death.
That was a sneeze that turned into laughter.
There was, for everybody at home, I got a bit of it in my ear. I don't know, but there was
I'm sorry.
something happened.
I couldn't find my cough button.
It just, something happened, and there was this weird, like, and then we heard one small high-pitched scream, and that was it.
My apologies to the viewers, to you as well. Anybody who had to hear that? I just could not find my cough button in time. You ever get attacked by a sneeze out of nowhere? Just like...
All the time. It's like, honestly, it happens more frequently than I would like it to. I mean, I'm a cough button spammer.
Do you remember the time that I spammed your cough button instead of mine?
Yeah? Do you remember the time that Lucio just got bodied? Was
that a super deletion? Was that it?
I think that was only merely a deleted. This is a super deleted. Nope, not the damage there. Never mind, I take it back.
Gust and Polybomb, Dragon Knight, and a 20 power spike for Tempo Storm. It's not a happy Void Prison.
We'll just act like we didn't see that one there, you know?
It's all right, Sam.
Yeah, that was well, not the intended purpose here, but with 20 advantage, Tempo Storm has the Dragon Knight. It is very realistic for them to get at least some damage there onto that keep. It should be a full keep with the 20 spike. But again, they may not commit to it. They're, you know, right as I say that,
Syndra Gosu comes on. 20 seconds now to siege down the rest of the keep. 9 seconds until one of the supporting type heroes is back. That's Lucio. Then we have 20 seconds until Medivh. So no real way to stop this, especially with Gust on cooldown. Tempo Storm takes out the first keep. And as they walk back, they'll happily just take a fort with it.
Getting the fort and the keep opens up a lot of the rotations on the map, and the fact that Tempo Storm is yet to lose really any major structures, that is a no-no late game for you know, superstars here on Dragonshire. Just, we always talk about it, Dragonshire, the laning. Certain lanes are worth more than others, but more importantly than other, it is one of the biggest rotations maps. So whenever you have the minions constantly pushing more against you, means that Tempo Storm gets more information. They know more about rotations at all points. So superstars should really be looking to, with their next Dragon Knight, not even getting a keep. It's probably going to be unrealistic unless it's a 25-minute one, and just go for double fort and the keep front walls.
I wondered if that would be the choice at level 20 for a Hosty. Guardian of Tirisfal again for a Medivh, being able to one-shot minions and catapult. Importantly, now that keep is down in the bottom lane. Absolute Zero, though, is not generally a pick I see. Syndragosa flies farther, also Roots.
Okay, so Syndragosa's level 20 upgrade is top 5 in the entire game.
It also has one of the coolest names in the entire game.
I mean, it's pretty neat.
Absolute Zero, hello?
I mean, and
scientifically, that's just badass.
It very much is. The Condemn comes in, the Blessed Shield, and that is going to be the first pick here. Tempo Storm losing a member at the post-20 fight.
Yep, Horrify was very good for Faye at the start of that. Nets a kill on Psalm, which was the exact target you want to have a Horrify hit. No Void Prison now until Psalm can respawn. And that lets Superstars be a lot less scared of how they want to continue to siege up in this lane.
They're going to put some up here onto the bottom. With Goku, they are allowed to actually siege as late as possible. So at a roughly 5 seconds, like right about now, man, they're going to all in this keep. Okay, so they have an option to either commit to a Dragon Knight for free and get the keep later, or go for the keep now and get more out of that Dragon Knight in a full 5 versus 5. And they're taking the risk now. Yeah,
they have portals. They still have Gust, too, to be able to disengage. We have Sound Barrier if things get especially hairy.
They got it.
Roots down on top of the portal. One fairly low is Stray, although there is a Cocoon, but they break it out fast.
Oh, the Roots!
Absolute Zero!
He's the shielding, he can't make it out! Iacona drops the Sound Barrier, so he is going to be fine for now, giving everybody the movement speed.
Fury went for the dive. Twilight Dream hits all 5 members of Superstars. Stray has indestructible proc. They use Horrify to try to get away. Psalm finds 2 with a Void Prison.
And that is going to be the follow-up burrow from Anubarak to seal the deal here. Moonburns trying to get the pick off onto the False Head, and what was a fork in the road. Superstars went for the risky play. They got the keep, but it cost them their lives. And that is going to be the end here of game number 3. Gus up in 18 seconds is just, too late here. Tempo Storm, with not nearly as a dominant fashion of game number 1, will be able to take lead once more in this series.
Superstars brought out the fight. They had the really good 4-man. Tempo Storm had a lot more kills though, 11-2, able to get the first keep, maybe putting some panic into the minds of Superstars. They felt like they had to get that keep, but they did have a lot of disengagement tools where in theory they should have been able to make it out. It just took them slightly too long. Som was back, he was able to catch them on the retreat with the Void Prison too. Yeah,
and we're gonna we have that as a replay, what happened there at the very end of that last game, so we're gonna take another look at that in just a bit here. So a lot of it was just the, the Syndricosa root really enabled so much for that, and thanks to the Absolute Zero. We talked about how insane that talent is, having a massive AoE root, the Fury hitting the burrow there at the end, but I mean, that Twilight Dream, let's be honest here. It's, turns out, one replay, you can quickly figure out why Malfurion is first pick worthy.
And June gets a lot of those.
He does. Quite frequently hits, 4 to 5 man Twilight Dreams.
And incredible roots too. We've seen that in several series from him. Great chase from Tempo Storm, being able to bring it back. But already, Superstars have been able to take one game. They had a lot of good things going for them in game number 3 as well. So we could have a full series on our